Welcome back inside our 2011 coverage of National Signing Day here at GoUSFBulls.com. You're inside the Ustream portion of our coverage today. Jim Lauk over on the Bulls Vision side. You can see that video in the screen above me here. He'll be breaking in as letters of intent continue to come in, but I'm joined now by the Director of Basketball Operations of the USF women's basketball team, Andy Alwood. Andy, every women's basketball game we chat at halftime. It's good to get you on camera and talk a little bit here in a different setting.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. It's a big day here for USF, and Skip's done a great job, and it's evident here by the letters of intent that are coming in.
Bulls fans, remember to get your questions sent in. If you have any questions regarding USF women's basketball, put them inside the chat room. Put them on Twitter. You can send them to USF Athletics. You can send them to me at Ronan O'Shea. I'll be sure to get those questions with Andy Alwood. But a big week ahead here for USF women's basketball, right in the midst of the conference schedule, a very difficult Big East conference. Same thing in women's basketball as it is in men's basketball. I think the last time I looked, 5 teams in the top 25, 4 more receiving votes. I mean, the conference is absolutely loaded, and you'll have a tough one this weekend with number 9 Notre Dame coming in.
Yeah, Notre Dame's probably playing as well as anybody in the country. I mean, you look at their stats, they are ranked in the top 10 in virtually every offensive category and 3 or 4 defensive categories as well. Last night they just really demolished Syracuse, beat them by 23, and held a pretty high-scoring Syracuse team to 48 points. So we would definitely have our work cut out for us on Saturday.
You saw Syracuse last weekend up at the Carrier Dome in Central New York. Such a talented team. They're also eyeing an opportunity to play postseason basketball in the NCAA tournament as they continue to get good things going up there. But just talk about the strength of the conference a little bit. It's pretty unbelievable. It seems like every time you think you maybe have an easy one, you're back on the road against the top 25 team in the top 10, and you certainly have teams in UConn, which everyone knows about, DePaul, West Virginia, that arguably could be contending for a national title this year.
Yeah, it's from top to bottom probably as tough as any conference in America. It has been year in and year out. And, when you have 9 or 10 teams consistently receiving votes in your top 25, that just shows you your depth of the conference. And, everybody knows about Connecticut, but when a Connecticut team who, finally had the streak broke, is ranked 3rd in the country, and an undefeated Duke team comes in and they just absolutely demolish Duke. And that was kind of a statement game, I think, by Gino and UConn, just saying, listen, we're still the best team in the country. I don't want everybody hear about, we lost the game and all, but that was kind of a statement game, I think, for them. And DePaul, Notre Dame, West Virginia, all 3 of those teams very easily, would not be out of the realm of possibility of them being in the Final 8 and playing for an opportunity to be in the Final 4, come April. So, the top of the conference very good, and then the middle of the conference, you have a Rutgers team lost their first Big East game last night in a nail-biter with St. John's, and you've got Rutgers, St. John's, and Syracuse, and that list continues to go on and on of those middle teams. Marquette's been playing very well this year, and it's every single game you have to play your best to win in that conference.
Let's talk a little bit now about the current team, the players on the team. I know as a coaching staff, a bit of a disappointment where the record is right now. This team is used to consistently going to the postseason, and the work's cut out to get back to that case this year. But as you look at the individual players on the roster, everyone wants to know about Andrea Smith. She was the junior college transfer, the junior college player of the year a year ago. She's leading the team in points per game with about 17 points per game. Almost every night leads the team in scoring. I think there's just been a handful of games this year where she wasn't at the front. Talk about Andrea's development, making that transition from playing at the JUCO level to playing, as you just mentioned, against the best competition in the country.
Yeah, I think the transition's been a little bit harder for her than she thought. One is, she gets a lot of shots every single game. Our offense is set up for her to get some good looks. And she hasn't shot the ball very well early on in the year. Lately, she made the All Big East honor roll this past week. She has shot the ball much better. We saw evidence of that at Syracuse. She shot the ball extremely well at Syracuse, and we hope that now that she's starting to get in the flow, understanding things, and just even though they played they were a national champion in junior college, you're going from junior college to the best conference in America, and that level of play night in and night out is something she's still getting adjusted to, I think.
She's still been very competitive, of course. Who are some of the players on this team, too, which have stepped up and stood out for you this year?
I think you're starting to see a little bit from Andrell Smith lately. Andrell has really, her sister has gotten more aggressive, played much better in the last 3 or 4 games. Akila McDonald, a freshman, continuing to get better. Leandra Doom-Stevens was probably very consistent, more of our consistent players. And Portia Grant, still in the top 1-2 in the conference in rebounding.
All right, Coach, one more question for you, and then we'll turn things back over to Jim. I just want to get into the chat room where we have a question here from Casey. He wants to talk about the current state of women's basketball. He says you go from being in the tournament, winning the WNIT, and then over the last couple of years, he wants to know how it's been a little bit more difficult the last 2 years. Is it because of the strength of the Big East or a drop-off in talent here since that team went on and won the WNIT?
Well, I think it's a combination, a little bit of both, but not so much the talent as much as is that group that won the WNIT was together for quite a bit, and that group, had played a lot of games together, and the last 2 years you've seen a big shuffle in the lineup, and this year with us having 7 new players that you really are counting on playing a lot of minutes. It takes a while to get that camaraderie. The nice thing about it for us, and this is what we're really looking forward to, is continuing to build the rest of the year. But we have everybody back but Portia and Leandra next year, and we've got a pretty good recruiting class coming in as well, and just hoping that the consistency of having played together this full year and keeping that same core group together next year will make a big difference.
All right, Andy, good luck Saturday night against the top 10 team in Notre Dame. 10:10 a.m. Had that call at 7 o'clock Saturday night from the Sun Dome. Let's now go over to the Verizon Fios desk and the Bulls Vision tab, where Jim Lauk is ready for an update with another National Letter of Intent update.